Aptara, last pages. So listen, in last class what we have discussed, we have discussed the meaning of taxes also, and along with that we have also understood classification of taxes. Okay, let's quickly go through all these points and we'll continue. Okay, so listen, before that we'll quickly revise main points and we'll continue. So if you check this, we are having totally how many heads of income? 5 heads of income. These 5 heads of income are given in which section? Section 14 of Income Tax Act. Quickly tell me, what is the first head of income? Income from salaries. And how many sections, what are the sections which are covered in this part? Section 15 to section 17. What is the second head of income? Income from house property. What are the sections which are covered there? Section 22 to section 27. Third head of income is what? Profits and gains from business or profession. Okay, and what are the sections which are covered? Section 28 to 44. Fourth head of income is capital gains. Sections which are covered is 45 to 55. And last head of income is what? Income from other sources. What are the sections which are covered? 56 to 59. Okay. So if you remember all these 5 heads of income, the first section whatever is there is nothing but charging section. Okay. Quickly tell me, what is the charging section for income from house property? Income from house property 22. PGBP 25 under 28. Cap gains 45. Other sources 56. Super. Next we have understood some important definitions. First, what we have understood? Calendar year. What is the meaning of calendar year? It means a period of 12 months commencing from 1st January and ends on 31st December. But we can forget about this calendar year because it is no importance. Next, financial year we have studied. What is the meaning of financial year? Financial year is nothing but it will start from which date? 1st April and ends on 31st March. What is the relevant previous year which is applicable for our exams? Sorry, okay. Next we have understood financial year is also classified into 2 years. What is the first year? Previous year. Second year is what? Assessment year. What is the meaning of previous year? Previous year is nothing but the year in which income is earned by the SSC. But what is the meaning of assessment year? The year in which incomes earned during the previous year is taxable is called assessment year. For your exams, what is the relevant previous year which is applicable? Previous year 25-26. Always remember, in your exam they will ask you to find out the tax for which previous year? 25-26. Okay. Next we have understood the meaning of taxes and purpose also. So let's quickly go through this. What is the meaning of taxes? Taxes are nothing but compulsory contributions. These are not optional contributions. What are these contributions? Compulsory contributions. Who will pay taxes? Public will pay taxes to the government. Public will pay taxes to the government. Next, what they will say? Purpose of taxes also we have understood. Government will provide all these facilities to the public. Correct? Therefore, government needs money and public will give taxes. Okay? If you check. So, if you check, these are the facilities which are available. First one is what? Defense services. Education also they will provide. What is the third one? Healthcare. Next one, infrastructure. Next, transport. Next, public security, and last but not the least, public distribution systems. All these things will be provided by the government to the public. Next one is what? Classification of taxes. How many taxes are there? Basically, two types of taxes. We have understood the differences also. We'll quickly try to revise once again so that we will continue. So, direct taxes are directly collected from the SSE. What is the meaning of SSE? Taxpayer. Which means if you check the previous example, first example, if you observe, Arvind is earning the income, therefore who have to pay the taxes? Arvind have to pay the taxes. Therefore this tax is which tax? Direct tax. This tax is direct tax. But if you check second example, who is actually purchasing? Tell me. Arvind is actually purchasing. Who is purchasing? Arvind is actually purchasing, and along with the car value, what is the amount which he is paying? 28 lakhs, which is nothing but GST. How much amount he is paying totally? 1 crore 28 lakh. What this seller will do? Seller will keep only this 1 crore rupees, and whatever the balance amount 28 lakhs which is there, that 28 lakhs will be paid to the government. That 28 lakh rupees will be paid to the government. Okay, which means what? Indirect taxes. Taxes are not paid by this Fortuner Limited from its own pocket. What it is doing? It is collecting the taxes from Mr. Arvind and it is paying the taxes to the government. Okay, which means here if you observe, taxes are collected from one person buyer and paid to the government by another person. Okay, second difference, if you observe, direct taxes will be paid after income reaches the hands of the taxpayer. Which means what? In direct taxes, first you have to earn the income, then you have to pay the taxes. But in indirect taxes, what you have to do? First you have to make the payment and then only you have to get the goods. Okay, first you have to make the payment, then they will give you goods. Sir, voice కొంచెం పెంచితే okay, so So, next, direct taxes will be levied on income, whereas indirect taxes are levied on goods or services. Next difference also what we have understood. Direct taxes are progressive in nature, whereas indirect taxes are what? Regressive in nature. What is the meaning of progressive? Tell me. Progressive is nothing but higher the income, higher the taxes. If you are earning more income, obviously what you have to do? You have to pay more taxes. But if you check indirect taxes are what? Regressive in nature. What is the meaning of regressive? Regressive is nothing but taxes will be same irrespective of your income. So next point is what? Impact and incidence falls on same person in case of direct taxes. But in case of indirect taxes, impact falls on one person and the incidence falls on another person. And we have understood examples of direct tax is what? Income tax, and examples of indirect taxes are GST or customs duty. This GST or customs duty will be there in your second part of taxes, which is indirect taxes. In this, it is there in your syllabus also. So what is this GST and what is this customs duty? You will understand in indirect taxes. Okay, but before, let us write the meanings of impact and incidence also. So please write, because here we have written impact incidence. Okay, let us write the meanings of those two words. First, keep the heading impact. Okay, impact refers to impact refers to initial burden. Impact refers to initial burden and incidence. వాయిస్ వస్తే గెంటేస్తా బయటికి, పిచ్చి పిచ్చి చేసలేకండి. Incidence refers to final burden. Incidence refers to final burden. Okay, so check this. Impact refers to what? Impact refers to initial burden, whereas incidence refers to final burden. See, check this example of indirect taxes. If you observe this example, who is the person who is paying the taxes to the government? Tell me. Is Mr. Arvind paying the taxes or this Fortuner Limited is paying the taxes? Fortuner Limited is paying the taxes to the government, which means what? Who is the person who is bearing the initial burden? This person is Fortuner Limited, which means seller will place the initial burden. But this person is not paying from his own pocket, correct? What this person is doing? This person is transferring the burden to buyer. This person is transferring the burden to buyer, which means who is the person who is taking the final burden? Final burden is taken by Arvind, but initial burden is taken by Fortuner, which means in indirect taxes, impact falls on one person and incidence falls on another person. If you observe, impact falls on seller and incidence falls on buyer. This is in indirect taxes. But if you observe direct taxes, if you check this example, who is the person paying the taxes to the government? Arvind is paying the taxes to the government. Is he paying taxes from his own pocket or he is collecting tax from another person? He will only pay tax from his own pocket. Which means what? Final burden is also borne by this Arvind and initial burden also will be paid by this Arvind only. Which means in case of direct taxes, impact and incidence both will falls on same person. But if you observe indirect taxes, impact falls on one person and incidence falls on another person. Okay, so fine. Next, we have understood the meanings of impact and incidence also. Next we will start with next thing, but before that please revise the differences between direct and indirect taxes. Okay, just take 2 minutes and please revise these differences, very very important. Okay, so if you have revised, please keep the heading for next point, which is total income. Please keep the heading total income. If you want this total income, First we have to take income from salaries. First we have to take income from salaries, and then we will add the second head of income, income from house property also we will add. Third head of income, PGBP also we will add. Fourth head of income, capital gains also we will add. Last head of income, income from other sources also we will add. If we add all these 5 heads of income, what you will get? You will get a gross total income. Gross total income you will get. You have to deduct one item from this gross total income. Okay, what is that? Deductions under chapter 6A. Deductions under chapter 6A you have to deduct, and then what is the final figure which you will get? You will get a total income. If you check our syllabus, all these 5 heads of income are 5 separate chapters. Along with that, this deductions from chapter 6A is also a separate chapter. Okay, we will slowly understand whatever these deductions are there. So, and then these 5 heads of income also we will cover. But if you add these 5 heads of income, what you will get? Gross total income. From this gross total income, if you deduct chapter 6A deductions, then you will get total income. Okay, fine. Write these points first. Okay, so fine. Next, write the seventh point. Write the seventh point. Steps. Steps for calculating. Steps for calculating total income. Steps for calculating total income and tax payable. Tax payable. Praveen, no good. Steps for calculating total income and tax payable. Very, very important. Please listen. You don't know this earlier. So I want 100% attention. These are basically used in practical life. Practical life. Which means during your articleship, or once you have qualified this CMA, if any person comes to you, if any person comes to you and he is asking, please tell me what is my total income and what is my tax payable, then we have to follow these following steps. Okay. First step, you have to find out, determine the residential status, determine the residential status of SSC. Right along with me. Okay. First step is what you have to find out the residential status of SSC. For this, we are having a separate chapter. There we will understand how to find out the residential status of a person. First step, you have to find out what is the residential status of the SSC. This is your first step. Okay. Once you find out the residential status means whether that person is a resident or whether the person is non-resident, you have to find out. Okay. Because if he is a resident, he will have some incomes which are taxable. If he is a non-resident, for him some incomes are not taxable. Okay. So first step, you have to find out the residential status of the person. Right now you will not get 100% clarity because this will be covered in a separate chapter. After this basics chapter is completed, we will start with this chapter. Okay. Then we will get 100% clarity. Second step, what we have to do is you have to classify the incomes earned by the SSC, classify the incomes earned by the SSC into 5 heads of income. Classify the incomes earned by the SSC into 5 heads of income. This is your second step. Okay. For this, we are having 5 separate chapters. 5 separate chapters are there for all these 5 heads of income. Okay. Next, one client will come to you. First, you have to ask what is the residential status of the person. Once you have understood his residential status, next you have to ask, give me all the list of your incomes. He don't know about these 5 heads of income. Your client don't know about these 5 heads of income. What you have to do, you have to get the list of incomes from that person and you have to do the classification. Because as per income tax, there are only 5 heads of income. Okay, whether that person is earning hundreds of income, 100 incomes that person is having, or that person is having 500 incomes. But what you have to do, you have to classify all these incomes into how many heads of income? Only 5 heads of income. Okay, so that is your second step. So third step, what you have to do is, third step, computation of total income and tax payable. Third step, we have to find out his total income and tax payable. Okay. Total income we will understand after completing 5 heads. Total income we will understand after completing 5 heads. But tax payable we will understand in the first chapter only, basics. Total income we will understand after 5 heads, but tax payable we will understand in the basics chapter only. Okay. So 3 steps we have completed. Fourth step. Fourth step, what we have to do is we have to do clubbing. Clubbing of income of minor child clubbing of income of minor child or spouse. Clubbing of income of minor child or spouse. Okay. This also we are having a separate chapter. Minor child or spouse, we are having a separate chapter. See, assume there is one minor child. One minor child is there. That minor child is getting some income. Assume she have got some 1 lakh rupees income. What you have to do is you have to include this income in the hands of their parents. In the hands of their parents, because this minor will not pay taxes. Who have to pay the taxes? Parents have to pay the taxes. Who have to pay the taxes? Parents have to pay the taxes. In some cases, what you have to do, you have to include the minor's income in the hands of parents. In what cases we have to do, that will be explained in the separate chapter, which is clubbing of income. We have that chapter, we will cover that. Okay, next, fifth step. Fifth step, what we have to do is set off and carry forward of losses. Set off and carry forward of losses. Set off and carry forward of losses also we have to check. This also we are having a separate chapter, but I will give a little overview. Okay, set off and carry forward of losses. See, we all know that we are having 5 heads of income, correct? Now my question is it possible for one person to get incomes only from all these 5 heads of income, or sometimes it may be possible for the SSC to get losses also? Think and tell. Always is it possible for one person to get profits only, or sometimes he can get some losses also? See, if you observe this business, in business there are high chances that the person will be getting losses only. Correct or not? So, if you get income from all these 5 heads, what you have to do, you can add all those items and you will get gross total income. Correct? But assume one person is having salary income of 5 lakh. From house property also, assume he is having 1 lakh rupees. From business, assume he is having 50,000 loss. From business, what this person is having? 50,000 rupees loss. Now what we have to do? If you deduct this amount, it is the meaning of set off. Calculate and tell me. This person is getting 5 lakh plus 1 lakh minus 50,000. What is if you add these two items and if you subtract this item, what is the value which you will get? 5 lakh 50,000. Correct? Whether we can see the meaning of subtracting this loss from the profit is called as set off. Okay? Adjusting your loss from the profit is called as set off. So what this will say, whether it is possible or not. Whether we can set off this or not, this will be covered in separate chapter. Okay, set off and carry forward losses. If you observe earlier, I have said that one compulsory 7 marks question they will ask from this chapter. Set off and carry forward of losses. Okay, so fine. So what is the meaning of carry forward? If you observe, assume from salaries that person is having no income. From house property also that person is having no income. But from business that person is having 20 lakh rupees loss. From business, how much loss is having that person? 20 lakh rupees. Capital gains also nil. Other sources also nil. Now, if you observe, this person is not having any income. Correct or not? What this person is having? This person is having loss. See, we are learning income tax. Income tax means what? If you are having any incomes, you have to pay the taxes. If you are having losses, department will not pay you. Okay, if you are having incomes, then only you have to pay. Sir, but what if I am having losses? If you are having losses, what you have to do is you have to carry forward this loss to the next year. What you have to do, you have to carry forward this loss to the next year. Next year we have to check. Assume next year I have got an income of 30 lakh rupees. Now, I will not pay tax on this total 30 lakh. What I will say, in last year I have got some loss. How much loss we are having in last year? 20 lakhs. So now what I will do, first I will deduct that 20 lakh rupees loss. Now what is my income, tell me? 10 lakhs. So this year I will pay tax only on this 10 lakh. This is the meaning of carry forward. Carry forward means bringing the losses to the next year. Okay, simple. We will have a separate chapter, then we will completely understand what is this. So set off and carry forward of losses also are there. Next, write a note point. Note first point. Apply the tax rates. Apply the tax rates from the basics chapter. Apply the tax rates from the basics chapter. I will explain these tax rates. Okay, but whatever the tax rates which we will learn from basics chapter, which means this chapter only, we have to apply these tax rates on total income. On total income, you have to apply these tax rates. Total income means what? Total income means after deducting chapter 6A deductions. This income I am talking about. Okay, whatever the tax rates which I will explain, I have to calculate those tax rates on which thing? Total income. Okay, fine. So next, apply tax rates. This is fine. Second step, calculate surcharge. I will explain the meaning of surcharge. Calculate the surcharge in brackets if applicable. If applicable, or write rebate under section 87A. Rebate, see, this is shortcut of under section. Okay, I will use this word, I will write like this. You have to understand it is the shortcut of under section. So rebate under section 87A in brackets if applicable. In brackets if applicable. This is your second note point which you have to remember. Third note point also please copy. Third note point, calculate marginal relief. First copy, I will explain everything. Marginal relief, same if applicable. We have to calculate the marginal relief if applicable. Okay. Fourth step. Fourth step, add health and education cess. Right? Add health and education cess. Let me write the full form. Health and education cess. Shortly we will write HEC. Health and education cess at the rate 4%, at the rate 4% in all cases we will add. In all cases we will add this 4% health and education cess. Okay, so 4% health and education cess will be added always. Fifth step. Fifth step. Check if SSE, check if SSE have paid, check if SSE have paid any advance tax, any advance tax or TDS. Just right, I will explain. TDS or TCS. Check if SSE have paid any advance tax or TDS or TCS. Okay. Last TDS TCS I will explain, don't worry. Last point, balance amount, balance amount if any, balance amount if any will be paid in cash, will be paid in cash or refunded or refunded to the SSE, refunded to the SSE. Okay, so fine. These are the steps which we have to remember always. Whatever the points which I have written in note. How many points we have written in note point? Tell me. 6 points we have written. First point, second point, third point, fourth point. We will understand in basics chapter only. 1, 2, 3, 4. After completion of basics, you will remember all those points. Fifth point, we are having a separate chapter. Fifth point, you are having a separate chapter. Sixth point is very basic thing. You don't need a separate chapter. This is very common sense. Okay, but this also we will cover later. So what you have to do is, please just revise whatever the points which we have written. Wherever I have written separate chapter, you will understand only after completion of this chapter. Okay, but just go through all those points and try to remember them. These are the steps we have to follow in calculating total income and tax payable. Okay, first read whatever these 5 steps which we have discussed, and then read about this note point also. 6 points we have covered, so please revise these 6 points for 2 minutes, then we will continue the next part. Okay, very important. Again I am saying, you will not get 100% clarity now only, because everything we are having a separate chapter. But starting only we have to understand whatever we will cover in our whole syllabus. Okay, so fine. Please revise for 2 minutes, then we will start. Pawan, tell me your steps. ఇక్కడ ఫస్ట్ బెంచ్ రా నువ్వు కూడా రా వాస్గా. ఎవరికైనా నిజంగా అర్థం కాకపోతే కొంచెం స్లోగా ఉంటే వాళ్ళు ఫస్ట్ బెంచ్కి వస్తే నాకు వాళ్ళ ఫేసెస్ అర్థం అవుతాయి. ఓకే, నిజంగా మీకు అర్థమవుతుందా లేదా నాకు అర్థమైతే నేను కొంచెం స్లోగా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తాను. మీరు దాక్కోవడమే చివరి దాక్కున్నారు అనుకోండి, మీకు అర్థమవుతుందా లేదా నాకు అర్థం కాదు. మీకు అర్థమవుతుందా లేదా నాకు అర్థమయ్యేసరికి మాకు 4 చాప్టర్లు అయిపోతాయి. ఓకే, సో అందుకే ఒకవేళ అర్థం కాని వాళ్ళు ఎవరైనా ఉంటే ఫస్ట్ 2 బెంచెస్లో కూర్చుంటే నా ఫోకస్ అంతా వాళ్ళపైనే ఉంటుంది. మిగతా వాళ్ళు ఎలానో వినేసి అంటే వాళ్ళకి ఎలానో వచ్చు కాబట్టి ఇట్స్ ఓకే. బట్ ముందు ఉన్న వాళ్ళు కొంచెం అర్థం కాకపోతే ముందు కూర్చోండి. ఓకే, మనకంట నిద్రపోతున్నావు బాగా. స్టెప్ నాన్న మరి చెప్పు. ఏదైనా 2 స్టెప్స్ సార్, ఏదైనా 2 చెప్పరా. హైదరాబాద్ నుంచి నువ్వు కూడా ఫస్ట్ బెంచ్ వచ్చావు. ఓకే, సో దీస్ స్టెప్స్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు రిమెంబర్, వెరీ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. రైట్, one final last point, 7th point, and then we will stop. 7th. Okay, basically an SSE is having an option to pay the taxes, an option to pay the taxes under first default tax regime, first point default tax regime, second point optional tax regime. First tax regime is default tax regime, second one is optional tax regime. Okay, SSE have to select which tax regime is beneficial for him. SSE have to select which tax regime is beneficial for him. Okay, which means very simple. 2 options are there. We will calculate the tax in default tax regime also and optional tax regime also. In which tax regime that person is having less amount of tax? In which tax regime that person is paying less amount of tax? Obviously that person will select that tax regime. Correct or not? See, assume in a default that person have calculated his tax and it comes to 1,50,000 rupees. He have calculated optional tax rates, he have calculated optional tax regime and he have got 2 lakh rupees. In this he have to pay 1,50,000 and in this he have to pay 2 lakh rupees. Tell me which tax regime is beneficial for that person? Default is beneficial because in this he is paying less amount of tax. Okay, sir, what is this default tax regime and optional tax regime? I have not explained, but now I am explaining. That person is having 2 tax regimes, 2 options are there. The person have to choose which tax regime is beneficial for him. Okay, so fine, we will stop our today's discussion till here. In tomorrow's class what we will do is, we have something which we have to cover, which is constitutional validity. Some constitution points we have to see, only 3 points are there. So those points we will cover, and next we have to move to sources of income tax. Okay, these 2 points we have to cover, and then we will start with tax rates. Okay, these two are very small points, so these will be completed in tomorrow's class, and we will also start with this tax rates also. Okay, but please revise what we have discussed. These steps are very important. 100% you will not get the clarity, but slowly we will understand everything, and also understand how this total income is calculated. Differences between also please study. Okay, differences also you have to study, and please revise what we have discussed. So we will end the today's class. We will continue in the next class. One second. Please repeat these 7 steps once again. Then we will stop. So what is the first step which we have to do? We have to find out the residential status of the person. Okay, residential status you have to find out. Residential status we will understand in separate chapter. Second thing is what? We have to classify the incomes earned by the SSE into 5 heads of income. Whoever the person is, how many incomes that person is getting, we don't know. I mean, even if you know, we have to classify into 5 heads of income. What is the third step? Tell me. We have to find out the total income and tax payable. Total income we will understand after completion of these 5 heads. Tax payable you will understand how to solve in basics chapter only. Next what we have to do? We have to do the clubbing of income of minor child or spouse. Separate chapter is there. Next what we have to do? Set off and carry forward of losses, which will be discussed in a separate chapter. Okay, these note points. First what we will do, whatever the tax rates which we will learn in the next class. Okay, from the basics chapter we have to find these tax rates. We have to apply these tax rates on total income. In basics only we will check further points also. Sir, what are those points? Sir, what is this surcharge? What is this rebate? What is this marginal relief? What is this health and education cess? All these points we will understand in this basics chapter only. Okay, from tomorrow, day after tomorrow, or another tomorrow, we will cover these points. Next, this we are having in separate chapter, advanced tax, TDS, TCS, and sixth point also we will. This is a common sense point, so I will explain this point also slowly. But this point you have to check. 2 tax regimes will be there. SSE have to select which tax regime is beneficial. Okay, so fine.